Hello everyone! Today we are harvesting our corn, or not. It depends if it's ready. So how do you know if it's ready? In this video I'll show you some of the signs you need to look out for to see if the corn is ready to pick. Corn is trickier than other types of crops since the corn is hidden under the husks. A tomato or a cucumber or a pepper grows out in the open and it's easy to see whether it's ready or not. Corn is a different story. If you pick the corn too early, then it might not have reached its full sweet potential. And if you pick the corn too late, then all the sweet, sugary goodness will turn to starch. So how do you know when it's just right? I planted 2 varieties of corn this year. In this bed is the early golden Bantam variety. These were started indoors in cups of soil with drainage holes at the beginning of May, while the weather was still cold outside. These produce a golden yellow kernel and have a nice sweet taste if you know when to pick it. The seed packet said these would be ready approximately 82 days after planting, but you can't just count 82 days and hope for the best. In this bed, I planted early sun-grow hybrid. This is ready approximately 68 days after planting and can yield 2 7-inch ears per stalk. The 2 varieties of corn look different. You can see the tassels at the top are more purple on this corn and closer to a cream color on this corn. The ears are also different. The ears of corn with the purple tassels are smaller and their silk is also closer to a purple color. The corn with the cream colored tassels are larger and the silk is more yellow than purple. So how do you know when to pick the corn? Well, one clue is in the silk. Around 20 days after the silk first appears, the corn should be ready. Here are 3 things you should look for in order to determine if the corn is ready to pick. First, watch for the silk to turn brown. Once it turns brown, the corn should be ready to harvest. The silks start to turn brown once they're pollinated. More about that in a minute. But this still doesn't tell you if the ear is ready yet. So let's move on to the second clue, which is to feel the ears of corn. You should feel the seeds inside filling out. The seeds will feel plump. They fill out starting at the stem end and working up to the tip where the silk is. Sometimes the seeds don't completely fill out until the end, but the corn can still be delicious even if it has not fully filled out. So the field test can tell you a lot about if the corn is ready. And third, pop one of the kernels. It should squirt out a milky substance. If it's watery, then the corn isn't ready yet. But wait! Before you pick the corn, make sure you have a pot of boiling water, assuming you're going to cook the corn and not eat it raw, which you can. But if you're going to cook it, get the water boiling first, then go out and pick the corn. Once corn is picked, the sugars in the corn begin converting into starch, so it's best to eat the corn the same day it's picked. If you can't, at least put it in the refrigerator to slow down the process of the sugars converting to starch. Each stalk should produce 1 ear of corn, but sometimes you do get 2 depending on the growing conditions. Corn gets pollinated differently than other crops that produce male and female flowers. Each stalk has a tassel at the top that contains the pollen. When the wind or animals shake the plant, the pollen from the tassels falls down onto the silk and pollinates it. That's why it's helpful to grow corn in a block with other corn so that there's a better chance of all the corn silks being pollinated. Each strand of silk represents a kernel of corn. If a strand doesn't get pollinated, that kernel of corn doesn't grow and get nice and plump. Some gardeners shake their corn plants to make sure the pollen is dispersed, but you can do more than that if you want to. You can pollinate the corn by hand. Just snap off a couple of tassels and brush them up against the silks. I have my 2 varieties of corn in separate beds, but still close enough that there could be cross-pollination. If this concerns you, then just plant 1 variety or plant the 2 further apart. So to sum, the corn is ready when the silk is brown and dry and the corn looks and feels like it's filled out. Then boil the water and run to pick the corn. Then run back to the boiling water, and soon you will be enjoying nice, sweet, delicious corn. If you pick the corn and find it's not ready yet, then don't pick any more. Watch and wait a couple more days to make sure the ears feel full and the silks are brown and dry. or visit your local farmer's market to get fresh corn. I think we can all agree nothing beats the taste of fresh picked sweet ripe corn. Thanks for watching. Bye.